So hello everyone. I am filling in for Megan. Yeah, so Megan is on the mend. She's doing better now that she's not doing as much screen time. So hopefully her taking off this week will help get her back to next week. So yeah, I'm Sierra. I'm taking over for Megan today. And if you have any questions, by all means throw it in the chat. But I think you should be good. Today we're going to use a dowel for very minimal. So if you don't have a dowel, it's totally okay. As well as a band. So if you can find a long band, we're using that. There's an option to use weights if you would like. So soup cans, water bottles, whatever you need for that. You don't need it. I have different options for you if you just have a band. And stretchy pants can work for that too. So I'll give you a second to grab that if you don't already have that. And then we're going to go into some breath work and then do a lot of rowing and rotations today. So that's what we're doing today. We'll start with warm up. I normally use a ball for some pec rolling out, but by all means, just use your hand. So we'll start with that and start just rolling out in the pecs while we get all set up with our equipment. So we're just relaxing the left side, rolling in through that pec. Finding what's tender. I've been doing a lot of rowing, so everything is sore. Good. If it feels good, we can also start working into that shoulder a bit, especially for those who are sitting all day, especially at a computer. Good. And switch sides. Relaxing the right shoulder. So we're finding tender spots here, but we're also getting a little bit of activation, especially when we're sitting curled in our chair all day. Good. Going into the shoulder if that feels good. Maybe finding a tender spot and, staying there and just feeling that through. Good. Okay, and then from there, set the ball down. We're going to go up into the neck, finding a tender spot, and then taking our right ear to our right shoulder, lengthening that side, and then coming back up. Maybe repositioning, and then pulling to that right side, and then up. We'll do a couple more of those. Just loosening up. Making sure that left shoulder's away from the ears, nice and relaxed. Switching to the right side. Finding a point, tipping that left ear to the left shoulder. And then resetting. Maybe staying on one point the whole time, or looking for more tenderness. Good. Then from here, we're going to look up, relaxing those shoulders away from the ears, then tucking the chin in, and looking down. We're going to hang here for a second, just feeling that stretch along the back. And then coming back to center and then looking up. Feeling that pull on the front. And then we're gonna tuck our chin in one more time and go down. Good. And then we're gonna look left as far as we can, coming back to center and then right. Center, back to the left, and then to the right. Good, then from here we're going to, I'm gonna move a bit, reach out to the right, sweep over to the left, feeling that stretch, noticing where your armpit is. We kind of want to get it to face up to the ceiling. Hand's gonna start reaching over. Feeling that length in the right, and we're gonna breathe here. Big inhale, feeling that breath all the way through. Exhale, coming back to center, reaching to the left, and then up overhead, armpit up to the ceiling. Making sure our arms not drooping down in front of us. Reaching a little further, and then we're gonna breathe here. So big inhale, and exhale. Returning to center, one more on this side, reaching up and over. Feeling that space. Looking up to our hand now. As we exhale and coming back down. Left, up and over your head, armpit to the ceiling, looking up to that hand. Big inhale, feeling that stretch maybe through the ribs and up the armpit, and then exhale, coming back to center. Good. Okay, we're gonna take our right arm, sweep it across to the left shoulder, and rotate as we go. We're gonna look over that left shoulder, release, taking our left hand, rotating across the body to the right, looking over that shoulder, exhale, sweeping across to the left, and sweeping across to the right. Good. 2 more here. Nice, gentle shoulder taps with some rotation. Good. All right, next one we're gonna do is our elbows are gonna be nice and tight to our ribs, and then our hands are facing me, and then we're gonna slowly slide all the way up towards the ceiling, reaching as far as you can, getting that length in the spine, and then we're gonna come down, driving those elbows down towards your sides again. Back up, big inhale, and then exhale, thinking about that blueberry between those shoulder blades, squeezing that blueberry, and then up and down. Good, 1 more, up and down. Good, from here we're gonna tuck that chin in and go into a cat. So we're gonna roll through the spine, feeling every vertebrae. Notice here my hands are on my lap, so if you need that support, that is totally cool. Rolling down, stop as far as you can go. So I'm gonna stop here, but you can certainly go a little further down. We're gonna stop at the bottom, wherever you stopped, and take a big inhale. And exhale, slowly coming back up, feeling that through the spine. Coming back to sitting nice and tall. And we're gonna raise that chest, look up. Arms are gonna come behind. If we can only go here, that's totally fine. Otherwise, we're gonna come back, pulling those arms back behind us. Lifting that chest nice and tall, pulling those hands towards the ground. And exhale, we're gonna go back down, tucking that chin in, rolling down. At that bottom, we're going to take one big inhale. Exhale, slowly come back up. And we're going to lift that chest and go up one more time. Head to the ceiling. Hands are behind or to our sides. Shoulders are away from those ears. Big inhale. And exhale, coming to center. Good. Okay, so before we move into some shoulder activation, we're going to do a little bit of a mindfulness breath work. So I invite you to close your eyes if you feel comfortable, and I'll slowly guide you through this. So you're going to place your one hand on your belly, and when we do this, we're thinking about raising our belly and then pushing our belly into either your backrest or the couch or wherever you're sitting. So from here, we're going to inhale, and we're going to count to 4. So big inhale, and then hold, and then exhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, exhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, and back to inhale. You're going to start doing that counting on your own. Remember, we only want that belly to raise, no raising of the chest. And exhale. Going at your own tempo now. I want you to start imagining somewhere that feels calm, thinking about what that sounds like, what that feels like, as we slowly settle into our breath. Feeling those sensations. Maybe noticing our heart rate lower down a little bit. Getting nice and comfortable in our chair, wherever we're seated. Noticing that hand on the belly again. Those big inhales. Feeling that exhale. Making sure we get that belly all the way in. And then on the inhale, filling those lungs, feeling that belly. Couple more breaths here. Maybe noticing any tension in the body as we find that calm. Relaxing those shoulders. Releasing any tension on those exhales. We'll do one more breath wherever you are. And on that exhale, we'll open those eyes and get right into some shoulder activation. Good. Okay. So from here, we're going to move to our elbows are going to be back to our sides. Palms are going to be facing each other. And then we're going to bring those elbows up to shoulder height. Palms are now facing the ground. Rotating at the shoulder. Palms are now facing me. And then we're going to go back up to the ceiling. Good. Coming down, squeezing that blueberry, stopping at shoulder height, lowering those palms, twisting at those elbows, and then bringing those elbows to our sides, bringing those palms towards each other. Good. Going up to shoulder height, rotating at the shoulders, and all the way up. Good. I'll go a little faster now, but go at your own pace while you go through each motion. When we come down, remember to squeeze those shoulder blades together. Maybe feeling that tightness a little bit as we rotate here. Nice and slow. Good. We'll do one more. And then coming down. Good. Okay. Grabbing that band. If we are using a band, and we're going to go into our external rotation. So Palms are facing up, elbows are to the side, nice and tight, imagining something's here and you're holding it against your body. And from here, we're going to pull that band apart, keeping those elbows nice and tight, and then coming back. Noticing my elbows are staying in the whole time. And if you have a heavy band, don't worry about trying to get too far. Just nice, simple movements here, squeezing those shoulder blades as we pull apart. 8, 9, 10, good. And then we're gonna rotate. Palms are facing up. I'm gonna move here. Palms are facing up, and we're gonna pull across the body. Notice when I start, hands are in front, and then hands are to my side, always keeping those arms nice and extended. Squeezing those shoulder blades together. Nice and controlled. Couple more here. And 10, good. Okay, palms are facing up, and go back to our external rotation. Elbows are nice and tight, and we're gonna pull across. Remember to suck those elbows into your sides. Sitting up nice and tall, feeling grounded through your feet, wherever that is, foot plate, maybe the ground. Couple more here. And then we're gonna switch, palms are up again, and pulling across. Notice too, I'm not coming back super fast, it's nice and controlled. And then pulling back out. Six. 4 more here. And 4. Good. All right. So you have a little break here, but while we're breaking, we're going to set up for the next one. So we're going to go into a seated row. So for some of you, you are doing this on a doorknob. I'm going to do it on my bed frame here. So we're going to set it up where you have it anchored to something, and then we're going to be pulling into a seated row. If that's not accessible to you, you can either wrap the band around your feet to do a row here, or you can also just use dumbbells and do a row like this. So get that set up. I'll give everyone a second while I also set up. And you want to try and aim for, belly button. Mine's going to be a little high, but that's okay. Usually doorknob works, door hinge. Some of you I know are doing it as a bow and arrow, and that works totally fine too. So when we're ready, we're going to start and do 10. So whenever you're ready, we're going to do 10. So we're doing single arm here. So arms fully extended. We're pulling that elbow back. Nice and slow. If you need more tension, grab higher up on the band and pull. 3, 6. Keeping our shoulders nice and relaxed. And 10. Switching side if you're following me. We're doing 10. 1, 2, 3. Notice too, my elbow is starting out here. We're pulling all the way back and the elbow's going past my body. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Good. Okay. Set whatever you were using down and grab your dowel. And then we'll go back to that one after. So from here, we're going to do a rotate to kneading press. So what that's going to look like is you have your dowel or umbrella or hockey stick or whatever you're using. And your arms are going to be just a little further than shoulder width apart, and the bar is just going to be a little distance away from you. And then you're going to think about rotating as far as you can go. So for me, I don't have a lot of rotation, so that's about as far as I can go. But if you can rotate more, by all means do that. Then from here, we're pushing that left arm out in front of us and then bringing it back in, coming to center, rotating to the left, pushing that right arm out, fully extending, and then bringing it back, coming to center. Rotate. So go at your own pace here. This is nice and controlled. Really get that rotation in, as well as that pull to coming back. So rotate, pull to come back. Rotate. Now we're doing 10, so go at your own pace or follow with me with my very limited rotation. And for me, I'm really thinking about getting that belly button to the side, but also making sure that belly button is staying nice and tight as you rotate, and then squeezing that shoulder blade. So we got a couple segments we're thinking about here. Rotate. Okay, we'll do one more on each side. And then relax. Good. Okay, we're going to do that, those two more times. So this next one, we're going back to the seated row. For those who might be using weight, I'm going to demo that. So if you're using bands, you're going to start with bands, so go ahead. If you're using weight, just a trick, I put one arm here, and then I'm rowing just right here. But if you're at the bands, by all means, start that. We're at 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Good. If this isn't accessible to you, you can also put this arm on a desk or a table. That also works. If you have the core, you can sit and bend and do this. You can also do this standing, a little bit of knee bend and a little bit of a hip hinge, making sure that back is nice and straight. Keeping that elbow nice and tight. Good. Okay, going back to the dowel. So setting the weight down or setting the band down. And we are rotating and press. Rotate, press, and row back. 3, 4, 5, 6. Notice your breath. 8, 9, and 10. Good. Okay, back to your row. I'm going to go back to the band. So we are pulling nice and tight. Arms fully extended and pulling that elbow all the way behind you. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Good. Switching sides. Making sure you have enough tension. 1, So a general rule is you should be feeling it by the last set. So we're doing 3 sets of 10. And 8, 9, 10 of your last set should start feeling hard. So if it's not, then I'd say do another set. Or next time when you do this, add more tension to that band. Come further away from your anchor point. Or like I said, move your hand up on there and add that tension there. I lost track. We'll say that's 10, and then let's grab the dowel the last time on this before we move on to our next group. Okay, so from here, rotating, press, and then pull. Press, pull. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, focusing on that belly button, rotating, 9, and 10. Good. Coming back to center. All right, let's take a quick break, grab some water. Give you a minute to reset. For this next one, while you're waiting, we're going to do a high row to press. So if you can find another anchor point that's a little higher at about shoulder height, that would be great. If you can't, I have another variation that you can do with a weight or with a without anchoring it. It'll just look a little different. And then your second one is at a doorknob. So I'd say leave that one at the doorknob. But I'll show you all of them and then you can decide how you're going to adapt that. As I know everyone has a different setup. Okay. So for this next one, it'll look like a couple different ways. So you can have it anchored where you were or just a little higher. And we're trying to get it so that it's shoulder height. So the first time we were down here, now we're going to stay at shoulder height, arms staying fully extended. And then we're going to pull back, bringing that elbow. So notice the elbow's coming back, and then I got too much tension. Pulling back, and then we're rotating at that shoulder height and then coming down. So when we do this, we really got to think about keeping that forearm straight the whole time, bending at the elbow, and then I got too much tension again, and then rotate at that elbow to come down. Okay, so that's your first option. Your second option, if you're using weights, is, I'll tilt that down. You're going to be here, and you're going out fully extended. Okay? And what you can do too is if you want, you can anchor it down at your feet or at your chair and use a band to do that same motion. So if it's too hard or you can't find an anchor point that you like with the band, you can do that. So I'll do the band one first. Give you a minute to get that set up. And then we'll get right into it. Okay, so we're doing 3 sets of 10, so go at your own pace. Remember, if you're using this band, that you really want to think about not having too much tension for this pull because you need enough space in that tension to rotate and then coming down. So pull and then rotate. 2, 3, 4. Remember, keep at shoulder height. 5, 6. And the only thing that should be moving here is that palm up to facing me or wherever you are, facing away from you. 8, 9, and 10. Good, nice and controlled on the way down. Switching arms wherever you are. And pulling and rotate. So my anchor is a little low. Ideally, we have it a little higher, but it definitely will still work. 5, just making sure that tension stays nice and tight the whole time. 6, and that arm stays nice and steady on that rotation up. 9, hi Janice. And 10. Good. Okay, we're gonna go back to the first one, so we're gonna relax for a second. For those that are just coming in, we either using a band or a weight. So the first one that I just did, we are using the band. We're going back to the right arm, so by all means start that. And I'm going to show the way with a weight if you're doing a weight. So 10 reps whenever you're ready. We're doing post delt raise if we don't want to use that band. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This can also be done standing. Just remember, back's nice and straight. Bend your knees a little bit with a little bit of a hip hinge. Switching sides, whether you're at the band or using a weight. And we're doing post delt raise. Notice arms staying nice and extended the entire time, nice and straight. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. Setting that down. Grab some water quick, and then we're going to do that one more time. So again, I'll go back to the band. If you're using the weight, stay with your weight. Maybe switching it up if that feels good like I am. Okay, last set. Remember, this band staying at shoulder height. We're pulling, keeping that elbow at shoulder height, and then rotating our hand out in front of us, and then going back to the start. So pulling, kind of like a bow and arrow, and then rotating, staying at shoulder height the whole time. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Good. Switching sides. If you're following me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sitting up nice and tall. 6, 7, 8, 9. One more. 10. Good. Okay, setting that band down, shaking that off. The next one we're gonna do, you're gonna have your dowel again and your band. Wherever you had your band at the beginning, at a doorknob or something that's relatively belly button height, whether you're sitting or standing, we're gonna do a pallet press. So a lot of you know that that is. But essentially what's gonna happen while you're sitting here resting is you're gonna have, so it's anchored like you saw here, just like this. And so what we're going to do is you want to come away from that anchor point as far as you can go to a point where you have the band at your belly button height, whether you're sitting or standing. And I'll take my hand that's closest to the anchor and put it kind of in between my fingers, and then take my hand, my opposite hand, to hold it there. And what we're going to do is we're going to be at a point far enough away from the anchor that it feels like it's going to pull you back. So we want to always have that tension where we feel like it's going to pull us back. So if you're not far enough away, come further away from the anchor point. Remembering we're nice and straight across to our side here. So we're going to be here. And then from here, we're going to push out straight in front of us, sitting up nice and tall, and then coming back to center. So this whole time, you're resisting this motion. And if we don't, try and find that straight across from you, anchor point, and move further away. Sometimes too, if you grab a little more of that band and wrap it around your hands, that'll be plenty of resistance to get you started. So I don't have a lot of core, so it's going to want to pull me back quite easily. So for some of you, you might need a little more. If you're standing, same thing. Step just further away from that anchor point, and we're going to do 20 of these. So wherever you are, I'm at about 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. For some of you, you might be using a fairly light band, and you might feel like you're not getting enough tension. And if that's the case, I mean, I have plenty of tension, but if that's the case, you can pull it here like we were doing, and then go up and over, and then come back down. So that motion of you're coming out to here and then going straight up overhead and then down while the band's still trying to pull you this way. So that's a little progression you can do. Let's switch sides. This isn't going to be a great angle for you guys, but you'll kind of see. So grabbing that band, making sure we're far enough away from the anchor point that we feel resistance, making sure we're at belly button height, grasping on, finding that tension, and then we're going to go 2, 3, going up and overhead. If we're going overhead, start with 10 and then work your way up to 20 in future. 5, 6, sitting nice and tall, making sure you feel that tension. You're going to feel it kind of in your shoulders, a little bit in your core as the band wants to try and pull you to that side. 17, 18, 19, and 20. Good. Okay, set that down. We're going to grab our dowels, and then we'll go back to Palaf. So for this one, we're just going to do a simple kayak, but not like what we normally do with cardio, but more so we're getting that rotation in. So when we're doing this, we're driving that stick down and rotating through, looking over that shoulder, and then coming to center. Driving that stick through and rotating. So for some, this might be a lot of rotation or just a little bit of rotation like I have. If you're standing, you can totally do this standing. You'll just have your knees bent a little bit and try and focus on having this nice and tight to your side and making sure that rotation comes from the stomach, comes from that belly button first and not like your shoulders. So the shoulders will drive after, but we really want to try and engage that core. So rotating. This is nice and slow. No cardio today. All just functional movements. And rotate. We'll do 2 more on each side, and then we'll rest. Good. Okay. Grab some water quick, and then we're going to go back to your band to do your powerlift press. How's everyone doing today? Everyone's quiet. So I'm assuming that's good because you're setting up. Okay. So into powerlift press. Remembering finding that right tension. So I'm going to wrap my hands again. If you don't have an anchor, Stephanie, for this one, you can put the band under your foot or on the chair if you're using a chair. So if you have it down, I'm not going to untie, but if you have it down here, let's say I were to tie it here, the band would come and loop around, and you could hold it here and go up like this. Okay, so you can either start that with under your foot or anchor it on a chair like that. And that should be able to work too. Good question. Okay, so inner powerlift press. Nice and controlled. 4, 5, 6. If you'd already started, you're doing extra. This one's super good for all of us. 14. I know a lot of you see this a lot with Megan and I. Okay, and then when you hit 20, we're spinning to the other side. And my back side. Okay. Making sure we're far enough away. And then we're going into it. I guess too, if someone is anchoring it under their foot or on their chair, 20 might be too many because you're going up and overhead. Definitely try 20, but 10 is definitely a good start too. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Making sure those arms are nice and straight out. If you can. If you can't, going out as far as you can that you're not going to fall over and then coming back is totally good. Just make sure those shoulders stay away from those ears. And then we'll relax. Grabbing that dowel. If we're not using a dowel, you can definitely use this just with your hands, where we're just rotating and then coming up. So going down and rotating, nice and controlled. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Remember initiating with the core, initiating with that belly button. Good. We'll do 2 more on each side. rest. Good. All right, we're going to do that one more time. I'm interested to know if that pallet press is working okay for everyone. Grab some water if you need, and then we'll get into our last set before we go into cool down. We're doing a lot of core, so another good core one is just doing Russian twists side to side. This is anti-rotation, so that's why we're doing that one today, because it's another good stability thing to work on for a lot of us. Okay. So when you're ready, we're going in doing 20 more on each side. 2, 3, 4. So notice if my arms go out too far, I start falling back, and we don't want that. So being aware of that and trying to stay nice and stable here. 9, 10, 13, 14. Shoulders away from those ears. Engaging that core nice and tight. And 20. Good. Okay, switching sides. If you're following me to my back. Grabbing that band. One last time. Checking your resistance, maybe adding more resistance on this last one. 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Nice and controlled on the way back. 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Good. Release that. And we'll grab our dowel for our last one before our cool down. So driving in and coming back. 2, 3, 4. Just using our hands if we don't have a dowel. Nice and controlled, making sure that stomach is making that movement first. Fifteen, 16. And 20. Good. All right, let's go into some cool down stretches. So first one we're going to do is a neck stretch. So we're tucking that chin in and going down towards our right armpit. If we need, you can use your right arm to bring your head a little further down. Otherwise, just trying to get that nose all the way down, relaxing that left shoulder. And we're going to hold here, making sure we breathe, feeling that stretch all the way down this side. And then slowly come up, tucking that chin in and going to the left. Relax that right shoulder. Maybe using that hand to help get a little further. Trying to get that nose as far down as we can go. Notice your breathing here as we go back to that calm that we started with. And exhale, coming back to center. We're going to do a spinal stretch. So going our left hand can go to our right knee if we're sitting here. Right hand behind you, pushing against the chair if you're sitting. And then looking over that right shoulder, relaxing those shoulders. And then breathe. Slowly come out of that, taking our right hand to our left knee. Left hand coming behind us, looking over that left shoulder. Making sure everything's nice and relaxed here as we breathe. Making sure we didn't twist too far that we can't breathe. And slowly coming back to center. All right, so that is all I have for you all today. Thanks for joining. Hopefully Megan next week will be a little better and can be back, but I am so grateful I could be here today. And if you have any further questions, be sure to throw it in the chat and let me know. Otherwise, have a good rest of your day, and I hope everyone is doing well.